vision and action and what we have to do, please. Thank you so much. That was very, very beautiful. Thank you. Exactly what we needed at this time. I just want to thank you all for being here. I love this. This is kind of more like a dinner than kind of a meeting, right? You know, it's an organizing meeting, so we'll have to come together and think what we're going to be doing next week. What we have seen, and I know they're all so very grateful that we had so many people show up. No King's Day, isn't that great? Yeah. Take that, Donald Trump, okay? We're out on the street on all these great signs that people were carrying to let him know that we're not happy with the policies that he was doing. And to see all of those people that showed up to stand up for immigrants' rights. Right? Yeah. When Olga was telling us her story about being in prison in Argentina for fighting for the rights of people there, and it reminded me of the scenes that we have seen when they have put immigrants in some of these prisons, right? People that really, Trump was saying they're criminals, but they're not criminals, they're immigrants. They're people who are hardworking people, and they have been put in these horrible, horrible prisons. None of us ever thought that we would see anything that ugly and that horrible. But this is a situation that we're in. But the one thing that all of us do know is that we have to start working right now to end this, right? I mean, we know that, like I said a little while ago, we have about a year and a half between now and the next elections to start really doing some deep organizing to make sure that we can take the Congress back, right? Yeah. This is the way, one of the ways that we can stop Donald Trump is by getting the majority in the U.S. Congress. And it's kind of sad to think that in our democracy that we have so many people that they don't know the legislative process, they don't know why they should participate in elections. And so when we think, how did we get here? How did so many people vote for this idiot, this imbecile, right? For president, you know? And we could think of a couple of areas. You know, number one, we have massive ignorance in our country. You know, our stories have not been taught, and we're finally starting to catch up a little bit by making them tell the story, the true story of the history of the United States of America. And of course now they're trying to stop that and push all of that back. But there's other things too. And when we take it, I know all of us know somebody that voted for Trump, right? We even have people in our own families, right, that voted for Trump. And we wonder why. Well, one of the reasons is because of the issues that divide us in our own communities. And I'm going to talk about those issues very briefly. And that is the issues of abortion, women's rights, okay? The fact that we have to support LGBTQ community. Yes. And what I have been doing when I'm speaking is I tell people about a great president that we had in Mexico, Benito Juarez. Benito Juarez was the first president after the independence from Spain. And he had a great saying. And that saying was, el respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz. In English, respecting other people's rights is peace, okay? So, as a mother of 11 children, as you heard earlier, I have to respect the rights of women that don't want to have any children, right? You know, it's their life, it's their business, and it doesn't affect me in any way. Likewise, if you fall in love with, you live with somebody of your own sex, okay? It's their business and not yours, and they need to be respected. And this is getting so serious, as we just saw with the Speaker of the House in Wisconsin who was killed, a woman, because she supported women's rights to abortion. I mean, that's how bad it is. So this is something that we have to start making sure that we promote and we talk about this, and we go to our institutions and we say, you also got to talk about this, okay? We can't just pretend it's not happening, that people's minds are being poisoned. And then we know, and I was talking to Reverend Bustos, Miguel Bustos, about this earlier. We know that in every community all in the United States, what do you have? You have a church, right? You have a Catholic church. You have an evangelical church, okay? and they're all preaching this stuff, okay? And so somehow we've got to start fighting back. What do you think? Se puede?
Si se puede!
I believe that's what we've got to do. We've got to confront our religious leaders and say, you've got to speak up. We do not want any more people killed. And of course, you know, the abortion clinic that was bombed there in Palm Springs. You know, this is dangerous stuff. People are getting killed because of their beliefs. And we have to remind everybody, hey, wait a minute, Jesus Christ was brown, okay? But they got the idea that he was somehow white. I'm sorry, he wasn't, you know. And then, as you all know, and some of you have heard me say this before, and I think I'm going to do it right now too, okay? I just love this exercise, just to remind people that we're one human race, and that our human race came from
Africa!
Africa! So I love to say to everyone, take the hand of the person next to you. Take the hand of the person next to you. Take the hand of the person next to you. Take the hand of the person next to you. Turn to the person and say, hello, African relative.
Hello, African relative. Hello, African relative.
And do this with your family, please, okay? Do this with your friends, whatever you're out there, remind them of who we are, Homo sapiens, okay? So we can start getting rid of that whole thing of racism. Let's put that to bed, you know what I mean? Dr. Martin Luther King said racism is an illness, you know? And we know that we can cure that illness. But the other things about getting people committed and getting them involved in the civic engagement process, that's going to take a lot of work. Because people don't know. I'm always shocked when, you know, we hired a person to work for our foundation. She was a teacher and an attorney. Did not know how the legislative process works. Had no idea. Had no idea. People that graduate from school have master's degrees because we do not teach civic education in our classrooms anymore. So if it's not happening there, that means we're going to have to go out there and do it the hard way, going door to door, setting up committees everywhere to make people get committed that they've got to engage in registering their neighbors to vote and getting people to get out there to vote. Because otherwise, we're not going to be able to stop this craziness that's happening. And I do want to mention, I want to point a special privilege. We have with us today our president, Mr. Oliver, from the Consumer Federation of California. Everybody. And I'm mentioning Richard because we're working on a bill right now. I'm just going to mention it. Look it up on the website, Consumer Federation of California, okay? And there is a bill right now that we're trying to kill in Sacramento. And this bill will take away an individual's right to sue when your privacy has been violated. Would you believe that? I got that right, Richard, I had that right. And it's being pushed by who? Well, it's some secret or legal organization in Washington, D.C., but here in California by the LA Times. You remember them? The Los Angeles Times? This is a newspaper that refused to endorse Kamala Harris. Okay? So anyway, look it up. It's SB 690, okay? But look it up. In the Consumer Federation of California, and the author, unfortunately, is a Latina, Senator Caballero, okay? Unfortunately. But we have to do everything we can to kill that bill. And there's other stuff that we have to keep working on in the legislature. So we've got to be on top of what's going on in Sacramento, and on top of what's going on in Washington, D.C., and continue our organizing. And you know, in all of this time that we're going through right now, and people are kind of depressed, right? I think kind of people got their spirits lifted when they saw 5 million people or 6 million people on the streets last Saturday. Was that great? Okay? All of you that have been marching, and I'd like to remind people that, you know, as you know, I'm 95 years old.
Yeah.
I was born during the Depression, okay? And during the Depression, people were out of work, you know? People were homeless. But what came out of the Depression? Out of the Depression, we got new policies that policies that help people that were poor, welfare policies. I remember they had teachers in schools. You could get free music lessons that came out of the Depression. Free art lessons. We had Social Security that came out of the Depression. Labor unions got the right to organize. Okay,
The New Deal.
that happened. And then we had the 60s and the 70s. And what happened then? We had a country divided like now. People were for the Vietnam War, they were against the Vietnam War. Our students were being killed by the National Guard, remember that? That all happened during the 70s, okay? But what came out of the 70s and all that big struggle? Well, we had the Civil Rights Movement. People got the right to vote in the South. They fought for it, they got the right to vote in the South, okay? We got the environmental movement. The LGBTQ movement, the Chicano movement, right? The women's movement got a big surge. All of that happened during that dark period, okay? So we don't know what's going to come out of this one, but we do know that we're going to fight for the things that we don't have, right? We're going to, we have to start fighting right now. We're going to start fighting for pre-college education. Equal rights amendment for women. We need to have that one also. Medicare for all. Free daycare for our families. These are things that are possible because other countries do have them, and it just happens that we're the richest country in the world, and we don't have that. And for labor unions, all right?
Yeah.
If workers sign up and the majority of the workers say that they have a sign-up sheet, they represent the union, we don't need any elections, all right?
Yeah.
That the corporation should automatically say they need to have a union, okay? And once they have representation, they should get a contract, right? They shouldn't string them out, take it to court, like they've been doing with so many labor unions. So you win an election and you never get a contract. It's happened at Amazon, it's happened at Starbucks, okay? So these are the things that we have to start fighting for. We start preparing for that. And we can make it happen. We can start dreaming to make it happen. And remember this.
Si Se Puede.
And part of the fighting back that we need to do right now, all of these organizations, they did away with the diversity, inclusive, equality policies. You know what? If they don't want to include us, we're not going to give them our money. All right? Just like we did with the great boycott, and the farm workers finally got the right to have a union, to have bathrooms in the fields, to have cold drinking water, right? To have rest periods. We went through a great boycott, okay? So now we're saying